Today on Podcast Rock City Live, we're going to talk about an interview today Ace Frehley did with Eddie Trunk, where the main thing that I took from it was a comment that Ace said, what I'm really trying to do here, what the bottom line is I'm trying to clear up my legacy. We're going to talk about that on Podcast Rock City Live. What's up, everybody? Joe here from Podcast Rock City, and with me on this glorious Wednesday, Sunny Hollywood Pony.
If it sounds like Joe's in a tunnel, that's because he took a tunnel to Florida, and it's glorious there. It's storming here.
It's beautiful. Does it really sound like I'm in a tunnel?
Kind of.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's not bad, though. It's not bad.
I'm not. Yeah. Okay. And that right down there is the goddess of thunder, Lee. How are you, Lee?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. Hi. Anyway, okay. I'm in Florida, and this Sunny, I'm driving. I went to a record show or a store, and I'm driving around, and Sunny goes, "Yo, tonight, 6:00, we got to do this." And okay, so very important. I did not make the meme up in the corner up there. Lee sent that to us. Somebody else made it.
I think Chris Sisnek made it.
Sinzak? Yeah, okay. That's so great. From the Decibel Geek. If you guys don't know that show, you should check it out.
The first official meme that's done.
So, all right. So here's the deal. I'm on my phone because I didn't bring anything to do a show because I didn't know I was going to do a show. So, but what I have is my phone. So your comments and everything, I'll try my best to put them up. But first and foremost, we've got to get to the news.
Podcast Rock City News.
All hell's breaking loose.
So it was. So the interview, I know most of you watched it or listened to it for that matter. I know most of you listened to it. So what we're here to do right now is basically discuss what we saw, or heard. Eddie Trunk had Ace on, and God bless Ace Frehley. I'll tell you this. I firmly believe that he believes, and I'm not making anything up here when I say this. I firmly believe that he believes that everything he's saying is factual. And I'm not saying that it's not, because I wasn't at any, but none of us were there. But my thing is that I think that at this point right now, he seems to be so upset that, like, when you listen to him talk, he seems to be battling between wanting to defend himself, but at the same time wanting to be a nice person. I'm going to give you an example, okay? even when saying, they say Tommy's a better guitar player than me, blah blah blah, Tommy, 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 Tommy. He still makes sure over here he says, I'm not saying I don't like him on a personal level,
Yeah.
or even, I mean, he said he loves the guys from Kiss. I think that he's battling, and if you listen to the interview, he is just all over the place. One second he's going, I want to take the high road, and then the next second, he's kind of taking the lower road, not the lowest road, not the
Yeah.
lowest road. You agree, Lee?
Yeah. I mean, he said he had all this dirt, but then he decided not to lower himself to their level because I think people, his friends and family gave him advice not to do that. So he
Right.
just basically talked about things that are already out on the internet or on video and, was addressing those things.
Right. Okay. So I listened. I took some notes, but unfortunately, I'm on my phone and I have no idea how to get to that without possibly losing everybody. And then on the next show, Sonny getting to make fun of me. So, hi everybody that's watching. Let me go ahead and put your comments up here. Thank you very much. I know it's a Wednesday and we're not used to doing this. We're going to do a show on Saturday as well. Because Easter is Sunday, and it's family time. So, Lee, hit us with a few things. Let's first talk about what Eddie Trunk said at the beginning.
Yeah, Eddie, before Ace was on, he said, when Ace was on when was it, a few weeks ago?
A week ago.
A week. He
Last
said
week, yeah.
He didn't know Ace was going to lay down all that with the ultimatum and everything. He didn't realize that. He didn't know what Ace was going to say, and that he's advised Ace that the best route would be to take the high road. Eddie says he didn't want this kind of drama, which I'm not real sure about that. But that's what he said.
He did say, yeah.
He said he passed
Go ahead.
on
Go ahead.
Bob Kulick. He said he passed on Bob Kulick wanting to come on the show and blast everyone. And he has a bunch of voicemails from Bob, but Eddie didn't want all that drama on the show. And Eddie says people are cherry picking his stuff online without framing what the real comments were, which that's common on the internet, So that was before Ace came out.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I'll go. I wanted to make, because he said nobody would talk about the fact that he said that he came out and said, I did not want any of this drama, or I don't like this drama. Basically,
He didn't know it was going to happen. Yeah, that's what
right.
He said.
He said nobody's going to cover that. Nobody will mention that. We did. We went ahead and let everybody know that he says that he was not interested in any of the drama that has come from this. I will say that now, stepping aside from that, one of the first things Ace said that made me take a step back and go, and that was when he said, I'm recording 6 days a week, and now I have to deal with this crap. I'm like, you did this!
This nonsense. That's what he kept saying. This nonsense.
And man, and I love Ace, man. Just like Sonny, I'm an Ace guy. But I'm sorry, dude. It's like the drama this week that you're dealing with is because you laid out the drama. It's simple. It's like, I understand that you might have thought that nothing's going to come of this, but it did. What do you think, Sonny?
He wants his apology.
I love Ace. Ace is a stream of consciousness guy. He says whatever enters his head. And I'm sorry, but you can't say you got all this dirt and you got a 120-page manuscript and blah, blah, blah. And he didn't get the apology. And supposedly he got a F you, I ain't apologizing.
5 seconds.
And that doesn't push you over the edge. That tells me, one, either you got no dirt, or two, you didn't think about what you were saying and you're not apologizing for that. This high road crap, he should have instead said, guys, I shouldn't have said what I said last week. That's the wrong thing to do. I'm not going to make it any further. I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. Love those guys. Just wanted to come on Eddie's show and say that and be done with it.
He wants to
Right?
clear
But
up his
then,
legacy.
yeah, but then to say a bunch of stuff that's already out there, like it just makes, I'm sorry to be like this, but it makes Ace look like a chump. That's what it does. And I love Ace.
He
Right,
said he's
but
just
this-
trying to clear it up, though. Clear up
Yeah,
the things that are out there that are wrong, terrible.
For a stream of consciousness guy that just comes and says whatever's on his mind, clearing anything up is an
What's on your
absolute impossibility.
mind?
Yeah, you can't clear it up. There is no
On your
clearing it up.
mind.
Yeah.
Right. He bounces around so much.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah,
I started where I'm at listening. Then I went out to the balcony. Then I was so nervous, like listening. It's like, like hanging out with somebody while they're, and I'm not saying that he was drunk and I'm not saying he was on drugs because I do not believe that he is.
That he's been
But what
sober.
I'm saying, right. But what it felt like was like talking to somebody like they just got rattling things going off in their brain. And they want to make sure they say it all, and it just was like boom, 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 boom. It's like really funny because he really had some. He's really angry at Paul. I gathered from the interview. You think the same thing, Lee?
Yeah, yes. For the piss
But
comment.
Gene does not seem that angry. The piss comment really rattled him. I don't know why it took.
He said Gene's always been honest with him, even though it's not always good, but that Paul hasn't.
I don't. Right. He said that Paul will be in a room with you and you'll play a guitar, you'll play a riff or a song, and he'll go, "Oh, that's really good," and then he'll leave and go to the engineer and say, "Cut it." But I mean, one person might think that. I mean, look, once again, I'm not playing any sides here because I'm never there. But like, it might also be somebody. I don't think that that's really. See, now I sound like Ace. I'm jumping around because I don't know what I'm. So basically, one person might say, "Well, that's your friend sparing your feelings," and on the other hand, that might be somebody going, "Well, that's not very professional. You should just tell you I don't like it." So Ace's reaction is the right one for Ace. Whether it's real or not, I have no idea.
Ace has got to have a lot of dirt. I mean, being together that long when they were young, there has to be a crap load of dirt. There has to be, just as any family,
Yeah, but we don't know. Does Ace really remember any of that shit? Like,
hard to say.
Okay, like my best friend in life, right? We've known each other forever now. Do I got dirt on him for the 20 years I was drinking while he was? Hell no, I was passed out 19 of the years we knew each other at the beginning. So I could probably make up a bunch of stuff, but it wouldn't be accurate.
Yeah, it might be what.
What else you got, Lee? What else you got?
Basically, we know he wanted an apology for the piss comment, and he did talk about the Hall of Fame thing. That was a big thing. Where is it here in my notes? He thought it was ludicrous that that Peter and Ace didn't get up and play two songs. Bruce Springsteen had actually asked Ace to play at the last jam at the Hall of Fame, but that didn't happen because they ran out.
I believe he said the guitar player from Bruce's band asked.
Yeah. And he thinks they didn't want, the original four to play because of what happened after Unplugged when the original four played together. People went berserk and it avalanched into the reunion, and he just thinks Gene and Paul didn't want that to happen again. That's why they didn't want the four originals.
I mean, that's probably true, right, Sonny?
I don't know. I guess you could think that if you want, right? But okay, so
plus Tommy and Eric weren't even being inducted. I mean, it made
let's
sense.
say there's an actor that's getting the Lifetime Achievement Award. Are they going to go up there with their current family or the ex-wife?
But those two weren't even being inducted.
No, but you get
the original four.
Yeah, but
they're alive, all of them.
Yeah, they all four went on, went to speak or whatever. But then now getting on stage, I got to be honest. I would have made the same.
Played with Bunny.
I would have made the same decision Paul did. I would have made the same decision.
No, they
I would
could've
not
done
have
it.
went that. They could have done it. I would have made the same
Just
decision
like-
Paul did, though.
Cheap Trick played with Bunny for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's fine.
They had.
I mean, look. Okay, in the end, they could have gotten on stage. They could have got on stage with Ace and Peter, and then got off stage and went, "This was fun, but it's not going to happen, guys. I'm sorry. I know that there are a lot of you that want it, but it's not going to happen. We did it for you here. There you go." And that would have been it. We wouldn't even be talking about it now, you know. But and also. So a couple other things that I want to point out. Man, he like told a funny story about Neil Bogart, him and Gene sitting in a room, and how much he loved Neil Bogart. He said Paul hated Neil Bogart. He said that Neil Bogart was a lot of fun. They were talking about the Spinning Gold movie, right?
Yeah, he liked
And he said he liked it. He said that there were no lines from the Ace character in the movie,
Yep.
and he said that I don't know if he really believes this, but he said Paul and Gene probably said you can use the logo, but don't give Ace and Peter any lines. I don't think that would be. That's so strange. But then he said that like Neil. Correct me if I'm wrong. He said Neil pulled out like a big bag of Coke, made a couple of lines, and then they were doing it, and he said Gene was sitting there goofy like, what's going on? And I was like, goofy?
Goofy.
And I'm thinking, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen the movie, so they probably talk about this a lot. But
Yeah, I hadn't seen it.
that was a very interesting way that he brought that up, you know?
Yeah, and I think Ace said something that yeah, he had no lines in the movie, his character, and he thought it was because they want people to forget about Ace and love Tommy. But Tommy wasn't there back then, so why, I don't know. That's what he said.
Yeah, that. First of all, how do you know Paul doesn't like Neil Bogart? Like, come on, dude. Like,
He said they argued all the time.
so that means, I mean,
Business.
I argue with people all the time I love. That doesn't mean shit, right? So, I just, because you don't outwardly love them, you hate them. Like, if you didn't love them, you'd be indifferent to the person, not hate them. Just because they argued, like, I'm sure it didn't make Paul feel great that if Neil's doing lines of Coke when he's supposed to be doing other things, probably didn't make him feel great. No.
Right.
But I don't know if you can have, that's what, like, this whole thing with, Carmine out there saying that Mick said this about Motley Crue. It's like, guys, just stick to you. Like, don't get to other people about who they like and who they don't like. That's the kind of stuff I hate about this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thing is that here's something else. Eddie said he was very surprised at how many people were interested in this thing, and I'm like, there's a reason why.
He knows darn well.
Okay, but here's the thing. It had nothing to do with Kiss. It's not who said what. It's what was said. Had you had Pee Wee Herman on his show saying, if Paul Stanley doesn't apologize to me for all the jokes he told about me at a party, I'm going to tell dirt on him, that's going to make news. It doesn't matter who said it. It's what was said, Sonny.
People love celebrity dirt.
Yeah, just dirt. That's the only reason anybody's interested is the dirt.
Right.
Otherwise, nobody cares.
The drama.
Right? So if you're going to say you can do it and then not do it, that's just not right. Now, he probably couldn't choose not to come on Eddie's show. After you're saying this better happen in a week, blah, 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 then you got to make a reappearance.
Yeah, you got
But
to.
taking the high road also doesn't equal bringing up a bunch of shit that's already in the news. That's not taking the high road.
Yeah, the other thing is he did. It's like it was a tale of two. It's like two aces.
He's
On
hurt.
one hand, he's hurt. On one hand,
By
he's
these comments.
right. And I think and look again. I'm not going to speak for Ace. I'm just going to tell you what I think. And on one hand, he might be sitting back and going, I've been touring for this. He kept bringing all this up. I've been touring for this many years. I've been putting out this many records. I sold out shows in California, even when they were having bad weather. He goes, I've been sober for this many years, and still they won't give me any slack. They won't like come forward and say, good on Ace. They won't come forward. At least this is the way I took it, right? It's like he doesn't seem to understand why do they have to keep dragging my name through the mud.
Right. Yeah.
Now, Sonny, Lee, how many times have you heard Ace say shit about Paul and Gene?
All the time. And why do
All
you
the-
need positive reinforcement from two guys that don't want to play with you anymore? Who cares?
I don't know, man. I mean,
They're
but look,
exes.
look.
I need no
Sometimes
positive reinforcement from my exes. Zero.
right, but here's the thing. It's like it's different kinds of people, you know. Deep in his heart, he may really love these guys
He
and go
said he
and
does.
and
He said he loves
and
them.
not right and not
They
understand why.
Well, they
Why is it,
created,
you know?
because of what they created, this thing's going to go on for hundreds of years.
Right.
You know,
That's what he said. 100 years
yeah.
from now, people will still be listening to Kiss music.
Probably.
I want my legacy not to be what. Basically, he wants it cleaned up. You know, he said he created the Kiss logo. He said that Paul has recently been saying that he himself, Paul, created the logo. I've never heard that. If some of you, I've always heard Paul say, and I've seen it in a couple interviews, that Ace designed the logo and Paul refined it.
Yep.
That's what I heard. There was a funny line where he said that Ace said that he sent a picture of the original logo to Eddie, and Eddie, I guess, looked at it while he was doing the show and said, "Oh, I've never seen this for you before." And he said, it was in my book." And he goes, "So you have seen it?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I can't imagine that Eddie Trunk did not read Ace's book. So obviously he had seen it, but it was really kind of an uncomfortable moment for a second. I was gonna be like, is he gonna say, I didn't read your book?
Well, I feel like he's just hurt because they keep saying he's, you know, irresponsible, always drunk, he's poor, and all. You know, I just guess he wants to clear his name. That's what I got out of it. He said, you know, like back when the reunion happened and the Unplugged, he's like, there they were talking shit about me, but then I came back, we did the Unplugged, and then all of a sudden they wanted me, they loved me, you know, all of a sudden, and then the same thing, you know, happened. And they hated
Everybody that's watching right now, hi, this is Podcast Rock City. I don't know if you've ever watched us before, but we normally do this every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We talk live. There's usually another member of us here. He happens to be away, and if you haven't noticed on his Facebook page, Joey Casada, our fourth, that's usually on with us, spent the day yesterday recording with Ace Frehley.
Yay.
And
go Joey.
But anyway, I keep getting text messages during this whole thing, and I can't, you know. Anyway, so
what about what he said about the Creatures cover? He said he was not happy about being on it, and he really couldn't remember if he played at all on it.
Well, in books it said he didn't play on any of it. And even Michael James Jackson said, we don't know if he played on it.
Right.
He doesn't know if he used any of the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So
nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
But his photo was on it.
Yeah, I mean that is what it is, and you know, there's all kinds of posters and shit that, you know, he went and did the promo tour. He got paid for all that, so it's not like he did it for free.
Yep.
Right.
Is Joe still here?
Yeah. I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're good.
And then he said, apparently on the Howard Stern show, after Paul said the piss comment, Ace was pissed because Tommy giggled afterwards.
So that is real.
Yep.
Okay, so if you look at the video,
yep,
Paul says the piss comment, then looks over at Tommy. Now, Tommy technically was already kind of giggling, And then Paul looked at him to almost confirm that
Right, that it
what
was
I
funny.
said was funny.
Yep.
Right? And Tommy kind of kept giggling. Okay, you could take that two ways. I got to tell you, when I first heard it, I thought it was funny. I giggled. I didn't giggle because I thought Ace was shit. Right? But I guess if you're Ace, that's how you take it. Is you guys are giggling because you think I'm shit?
Well, yeah, if
It's
you're
like
Ace,
giggling because it's.
Be
I
offended
would
by
be
it if
giggling
you're
because it's
Ace.
a uncomfortable. God, Paul, you like the shit you come up with.
It could have
sometimes.
been a nervous giggle.
Yeah. Just the stuff that I've never
Plus,
heard
your
that.
boss is staring at you to laugh. So
Yeah. Come on, like
yeah, that's a tough one.
I've never heard Tommy say Ace sucks. I've never heard him say it.
He would never say that.
There's no reason to say it because it's not true.
He always emulated Ace. He was in a Kiss tribute band, in the 80s even. So
there's a message here. I'll put it up on the picture there in the picture. I'm not sure what Ace basically said today, that he's recording his new album and that he's putting it all together. All I know is that Joey recorded drum tracks for a record. I don't know if it's for the new record or for one coming out later. I haven't got all the details. I just know that he was recording. Joey mentioned it on his Facebook page.
He could have been patching today for all we know, right? He could have been overdubbing. You don't know.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's true. I can't, because this is on my phone, I can't see this. Lee, can you read that comment?
I understand Paul's comment, and I get it. They couldn't get Ace or Pete to play a complete album after the reunion. We were sold original lineup album, and it was session players for the most part, I personally think.
Ace was already out. I mean, Peter was already, Yeah.
Psycho Circus and basically being paid to stay away kind of thing. Hey, whatever.
I think Ace also thinks they keep picking on him, saying he's drunk and unreliable and stuff to diminish the importance of Ace and Peter and to lift up the current lineup. That's what Ace feels.
Okay,
but why does it matter? Two X's are taking shot at him. Why does it matter? Like, Ace, just let it go.
Well, this is a big
be the bigger man.
Well, it's a big deal. Kiss is a big deal. That's his legacy. He started it. He's hurt. He put his feelings. Got his feelings. For it.
The whole thing is weird.
He doesn't. I don't think he wants. He just feels Peter and Ace are getting diminished. The importance of them is being shoved under the rug when they're the ones that created this shit.
Well, okay. So, all right. Before we go any further, first of all, thank you guys who are watching. Thanks everybody that's watching. We are talking about the Ace Frehley Eddie Trunk interview today, and what we're getting from this. You can always email us and let us know what you think. Podcast Rock City 1.
That's the number one.
Number one.
All right. At gmail.com. Podcast Rock City 1. That's the number 1 at gmail.com. I answer everybody's email, and a lot of you guys have sent a whole bunch while I've been on vacation. I'll get to you. Yeah. So I mean, look. In the end, if what Ace is doing right now is what he says, if what he's saying is, I don't want people to just think of me as the drunk or the drug guy or I want my legacy to be that I put out these albums. And they were great albums, and people enjoyed them, and I was a good guitar player, even though I never had a lesson. He mentioned that.
Created amazing solos. Yeah, he mentioned that.
Yeah, and he put, he, like I said, it's like he seemed upset about the giggle from Tommy, and that might be why he went after him so hard. Once again, we're not in the guy's head, so we don't know, but it just seemed very unusual how much he was, he was really going after Tommy. Eddie asked him about getting on stage. Is it completely out of the question? He said no.
Let he talk. He said enough
Let
money.
he talk.
Yeah.
He mentioned playing the last 2 shows for $500,000. $250
$250 a night.
Yeah, that's
$250 a night.
not happening.
Right.
That's
You
not
know,
happening.
he said there would have to be let Kurt ski. You're
Yeah,
gonna get him.
He said he wouldn't. He didn't even need to wear the makeup. He said he could just.
He said he's the best looking guy in the band.
Right. He doesn't need the makeup anymore. You go on stage, without the makeup. They can leave it on.
So,
um,
okay, I'm interested in
Yeah.
both your opinions. I'll get Lee's first. This whole thing about Paul called, said, "Fuck you, I ain't apologizing," and hung up.
Hmm.
I got to be honest. I would do that. I could see Paul doing that.
I can too.
think
I
that's
think it happened.
possible.
I think it
Yeah.
happened.
I
Yes,
think it's
do.
possible.
I think it happened.
Joe, you think it happened? Is it possible?
He might think that.
It's possible. Absolutely.
Only 5
It's
seconds.
it's
might-
possible. It's possible. But I can't imagine Paul calling saying "fuck you," I'm not apologizing, and hanging up. I think the insults would be a longer span, more than 5
No,
seconds.
he wanted it to be so short that it wouldn't show up in the register or something.
Well, he said that he was upset because he didn't even really get to say anything
Right.
to him or back to him.
Well,
you
he
know,
texted him. He texted him back apparently, but got no answer.
right? That and then he talked about Doc McGee. Did you take
Oh,
notes
yeah.
on that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me find it here.
He said he's talked to Doc a few times this week.
He was in contact with Doc 3 times.
Doc said Paul did not call him.
Yeah, Paul denied making the call, but Ace has screen grabs from his phone of the 5-second call from Paul, and then he didn't hear anything further from Doc. He wouldn't call him back.
So,
And then he said Paul's on AT&T. That's what the meme is up in the
that's
corner.
The Verizon and the yes.
here's my thought
Yeah.
on that. If I'm Doc, okay, and Joe calls Lee and says, "I'm not apologizing, fuck you," and hangs up. And then Joe calls me and
Right.
says, "Do you think this is right to Lee do that?" I'd be like, "Ace, stop calling me. Joe, stop calling me." Like, Doc is probably like, "Why am I in the middle of this shit? This ain't got nothing to do
He's
with
the
me."
manager.
Yeah, this ain't got nothing to do with me. If Paul told you fuck off, then Ace, I guess I would say fuck off. Like the guy told you fuck off, right? So I just, why call Doc? Right? Paul doesn't have to answer his texts. Paul doesn't have to answer the phone. Paul doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to do. And I do agree with some of the comments that I'm seeing about this isn't exactly making Paul look like a prince either. 100% with
No.
you. I think Paul is not helping himself either. The two winners, not even winners, the two people that aren't getting any shit out of this is Peter, who's staying quiet, and
He's
Gene,
staying
who ain't
very
getting
quiet.
involved. That's it.
Yeah, Peter's quiet. on
Right
this.
now, technically, Paul's not even involved except for he said a piss comment on the Howard Stern show.
Ace
We don't
did
know if he
mention-
made a call.
Ace did mention sinking Stanley too.
Yeah.
At the
See,
very end, you mentioned
Yeah.
Sinking Stanley.
But you want to take the high road? That's what I'm talking about, the bullshit stream of consciousness. You're saying you want to take the high road, but then you bring up Sinking Stanley. Seriously?
It's awesome.
Right. And the fact that Doc admitted that Paul sings to a track.
Okay.
But he's done this before. He's mentioned this before. At some point, though.
Well, he brought up the old interview where Gene and Paul said how bad it is to have tracks and everything. So he brought up that old interview.
Okay. Well, he was supposed to put dirt, so he lied too.
He
Right?
also talked about his makeup and the licensing. He said he owns the makeup and licenses it to Kiss. It's licensed per perpetuity that Kiss can use it as long as they want, as long as they pay Ace. He regrets doing this. He regrets doing that because he was drunk.
Yeah, he said he was loaded. Now, here's the thing. Eddie Trunk actually asked him, couldn't you pull the trademark? Could you pull it from them? And he said, no, I cannot.
He signed.
Right. As long
as he gets the money, he's got to get the money for it.
Right. And he made it seem like, okay, so I don't want to put words in his mouth, but the way I took it was it was almost like they pulled one over on him because he was wasted, and so they can use it as long as they want, so long as they pay him. He also seems to take it very personally that Gene says that Peter and I are poor, even though we live in mansions, even though I have a studio in my basement and 100 guitars.
Yep.
And this, and we live in mansions, and
I've never heard Gene call him poor.
He says
I've never heard him. I've never heard him say. But look, here's the thing: I haven't heard every interview Gene has done where he's mentioned Ace and Peter or Paul or Vinny or Eric or Tommy or Bruce. I haven't heard them all. So all I can say is I've never heard him say, "Oh well, Peter and Ace are poor." I've never heard that come out. But
I haven't either.
If Ace might hurt, but also one of the other things was he also mentioned that he heard about what was said on the Howard Stern show from a third party. So if I'm not mistaken, Lee, you can fact check me here live. Did he not say I didn't hear it myself? Somebody told me. About the piss thing or whatever,
Then he went back and watched it, I think.
And apparently he sent Eddie audio footage of the piss comment, and Eddie said he could not play it on the show because he does not have permission to play it on the show. Right. He apparently Ace spent all week going, editing video and sending it to Eddie Trunk, and Eddie Trunk could not. There were a few times where Ace went off on like a little tangent, and you could see that as an interviewer reel him back in, and he did. I'm not afraid to say this in public. I've really never listened to Eddie Trunk. Maybe a couple of times. I have a friend Bab from up north who really loves fucking Eddie Trunk. Not actually fucking Eddie Trunk, but he loves Eddie Trunk. And he loves Eddie Trunk. He calls into Eddie Trunk. I know he loves it. Yeah, I felt like Eddie did the best with what he had. I'm not gonna lie. I have to admit that I appreciated. I hate how much he hates, or I don't want to say hates, but how much he dogs Paul and Gene for whatever reasons they have that are behind the scenes. But at the same time, he did a pretty good job trying his best to keep the bull inside the ring, if that made sense. Because like I said, it really felt like Ace was really like all over the place. Here's the other thing, and I want to make sure that I say this again. It's that I really, really believe that Ace feels like he's the victim here. He really feels like
his feelings are hurt. I really meant that. His feelings are hurt. I didn't mean to say his feelings, but I feel like he's really hurt by all these comments of the last 20 years, 30 years.
Right, and especially, yeah. Go ahead.
I have a solution.
Oh.
And I don't think Howard Stern would say no.
Oh.
Ace needs to call Howard Stern and say, my band wants to play 2 songs on your show, and I want to get interviewed. And I'm going to answer any question that you ask me, and you're going to see that me and my band know what we're doing. I want to do Shock Me, and I want to do Rocket Ride, or whatever, whatever he wants to do, and show the world that he can still play and do it on the same show that somebody said you couldn't play.
He's been playing
shows.
React.
That's the high road.
He's been playing shows, though. I mean...
Yeah, but this whole thing started on Stern, so go end it on Stern.
That'd be good.
So
well,
but I can tell you, I am in no way sticking up for Paul. Paul has not done himself any flavors on this.
I think he made.
I think I would have made the phone call. I would have done that. Right? You can't just leave it alone. So you got to poke the bear, right? So you can't leave it alone. So you just call, and I probably would have said exactly what Paul supposedly said.
Well, in the end, I think this is all. I'm guessing that this is all over now. But what do you think, Sonny? No.
There is no way that Ace is on stage the final 2 shows. This thing
No, I don't think
is
so.
done. Anything Ace wants to keep going on with this and keep getting interviewed and people want clickbait and all this shit, that's all just crap now.
Yeah.
There's no way Paul's going to answer any questions about it. And there's no way Gene's going to answer any questions about it. You ain't even going to get to Eric or Tommy. Like that, the mic won't even get in front of them to be able to answer questions. So all you're ever going to hear from is Ace. Paul has no reason to answer any questions about this. Period. Let him think what he wants to think. Whatever. I don't care.
He seemed real upset. He seemed real upset that they always say that they fired him. He says that he quit. He did not get fired.
And that it's very interesting that that's very important to him, and I can get that that's personally important to somebody, but you're not going to change what people keep saying. Either way, you're not in the band anymore.
I think he also feels like they kind of insinuated that maybe Ace and Peter would be at the last shows just to sell tickets, even though there was no deal or anything. He feels like Doc said Ace might show up, and stuff. Kind of not saying they wouldn't, just to keep people, pulled.
Yeah. Okay. So, there's going to be a lot of talk about this for the rest of the week. Make sure if you see a podcast talking about this, you go ahead and you watch it or listen to it or pay attention to it, because you want to get everybody's side and everybody's take, because that's what's cool. And when we do something like this, by no means is anybody copying us. Keep that in mind. It's very important that everybody.
What was that?
I'm a copycat. But anyway, so here's the thing. This Saturday at 7 p.m., we will be doing a show instead of Sunday. So make sure you guys come then. I will post the link and everything, and you guys can come and watch. Everybody's posting comments. Thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it. I'm going to go back to being on vacation. Sonny's going to go back to being on work. So is Lee. She was eating dinner when we got here tonight. Somebody asked what your T-shirt was.
Oh, this.
Sinzak also asked why Joe's 10 times louder than we are.
Because he's in a tunnel.
Am I really?
Yeah, you're loud.
Great.
So
I don't usually use my phone.
So, Sonny, if Ace plays on Howard Stern, would Joey be playing drums?
Maybe.
How cool would that be?
Maybe. But he's got to get out there somehow on a public forum, Good Morning America, The Voice, something that kind of you want to make the thing go away and show you can still play. I guess that's the way to do it.
Stern, though, that would be good. You're right.
Yeah. All right, you guys, let me get my, because I'm doing this on my phone, so it's all so silly. It's just so weird.
Still my guy, right there. Still my guy. He's nuts.
I love Ace.
I'm not.
There is no way I'm saying that Ace is a bad guy at all. I do not believe that. I honestly believe that he's hurt, and maybe this is an attempt to just clear it all up and get his friends back. I don't know, but anyway, we'll hear more. Maybe when Joey's on with us, if he comes on this Saturday, we could get a little more, or maybe we could get Ace on with us. Who knows? I'm just saying, that wink doesn't mean anything. I'm flirting with Lee.
Oh, right.
And who's going to rein Ace in? Who's going to rein him in?
No, that would have to be you. You're the boss of like 1,000 people.
Ace, yeah. Shut up, Ace. Hold on.
Yeah. The show would be 3 hours long. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Listen, thank you guys again. We love you very much. We'll see you this weekend, and we're out of here in 3, 2, 1. Peace. I don't know if